Phew, okay. So, before I get into this review, I want to clarify something. I have absolutely nothing to do with this contest. Absolutely nothing. I didn't judge it. I did not participate. I've barely seen any of the plots before going into this. Yes, I have seen a couple, but I tried my best to steer clear of as many of the plots as I can until it was done, so that I could be reacting to most of them for the first time in this video. And what contest am I referring to? Why, the Axiom contest, of course, a creative building contest where contestants can only use the Axiom mod as a tool for their building process, which really doesn't mean anything in terms of skill and quality of the builds. That's just the purpose of the contest. So now that you understand that, and you understand my little disclaimer that I had nothing to do with it, let's go look at some builds. The theme for this contest was reverie, which is to be pleasantly lost in one's thoughts or daydreaming. And this first plot we're going to look at is one of the few that I have seen before, and I just want to look at it from a distance first because as soon as I go in the plot, it's going to turn night. But here's how it looks in the daylight. As you can see, it's a beautiful woman dreaming about love, it looks like. And the colors on this are absolutely gorgeous, but it looks even better when you get inside the plot and everything starts to glow. Love the colors in this. I love the hints of blue up there and the purples and the glowing colors and the almost starlit appearance. It looks like she's emerging out of some kind of galaxy nebula cloud. Really, really pretty. I love the play with the lights. You can even see little specks of light down there. What those blocks are. Let me go investigate. Oh yes, amethyst. Should have known. Now, amethyst does emit a very low level of light, so that's a great way to get just a touch of dots of light in a build if you place the amethyst, what are they called again? The amethyst buds. Yes, those things. Oh, and it's a dream catcher in the back. Very, very nice. Very beautiful. I love the colors in this. I guess I keep saying that's really what makes this build stand out. The shaping of it is actually pretty simple. It's the colors and the lighting that really make it stand out as being really beautiful. If you look at this up close, for example, there's really not tons of detailing blocks because there's really not much of a need for it. It's mostly a play on the colors. Now there is glass, but glass also helps a lot with just the overall shading technique. It makes some blocks underneath of it duller or brighter depending on how you're layering them. So that's more of a shading technique. But yeah, these look absolutely beautiful. Look at these little butterflies everywhere. And these little particles which are made out of candles, glass, amethyst, and then it fades up into some blue blocks. A beautiful build overall. This next one, I caught a glimpse of it in Discord, but I haven't looked at it in game yet, so let's get a closer look at this. It's a piece of paper, looks like a child's worksheet with a drawing that's coming to life, which is kind of cool and creepy the way that that was handled with the strings connecting it, but kind of like it at the same time. I just love the style of this and how you can tell that that's lighter, like it was written in pencil. I don't know, that just looks so creative. And it looks like the paper is morphing into a real scene with rocks and water, and then whatever this crab-like creature is, kind of creepy, but also kind of cool. It's got like a bunch of little fuzzy hairs on it. I don't really know what those are, but lots of fun little details. You know, something about this build that really stands out to me is just the fact that it's all pure imagination. There's probably nothing realistic about this. What is that? Is that a boat sticking out? I can't tell what this is. That's kind of creepy. Are those little worms coming out? I really can't tell what it is, but I'm mesmerized at the same time. I also like how the builder used the black outline technique to make it look like it was part of a drawing. Now over here it kind of disappears, but I guess that's to show that it's kind of the fading away from a drawing to a real thing. Whatever the reason for it, it is really well done. And if you look over here, I noticed there's a little kid looking through binoculars. And I guess there's nothing back there, that's darkness, but yeah. That's so interesting. I don't even know what to make of it. It's just a feast for the eyes looking at this and trying to figure out what it is you're looking at, but it is very well built, I do believe. Frostwind Castle, a castle located in a cold yet magical environment to be viewed from the front without night vision. Okay, where is the front? I'm assuming that I was in the front, right here. This looks like a very whimsical castle on the side of an ice plain. Why is it sandy? So it looks really warm and sandy where the castle is, and then everywhere else looks like a cold, snowy tundra. Oh, there's even a backdrop. I better get the whole thing loaded in so that we can see it fully. I'm always fascinated by these backdrops. I've never had a build that required something like that, but oh yes, it looks really nice. Let me get back. There we go. You can see the whole thing here. I do love this color palette of the purples and oranges. It just looks so magical. I don't know another word for it. It's so beautiful. Oh, that's interesting, using the chorus plant in that way. Yeah, there's a lot of interesting, unique blocks used in this. I also, oddly enough, really like these clouds, even though they're so simple. It's just a flat, circular shape of glass with glass panes on the sides, but it's so effective when you layer them like that, and it looks even more whimsical. I'm not sure what this little cloud of particles is supposed to represent. I mean, it does look pretty though. I'm not going to say it doesn't look pretty, because it does. I also like the simple terrain and how that's shaded with the ambient like texture. Really like that. Overall, it's a really nice build. It's just unfortunate that it was only made to be looked at from one side, but that's, you know, that's me being particular. I have a hard time doing builds that only are looked at from one side, but I understand why it is done in many cases. Oh wow, this is actually kind of cool how the yellow there is just floating, but it's meant to outline the shape of the castle and give it a highlight. So that's kind of a cool effect, especially over there when you're looking at it from over here or straight on. It kind of bends with the angle that you look at a little bit. That's an interesting effect. I should consider doing more of the bright teals in my trees. I mean, I have done it before, but not to this extent with all of these varying green blocks, because you don't normally think to mix a bunch of different variations of green. Normally you try to stick within the same general hue, but this has got blue greens, it's got like gray greens, it's got, you know, lime greens, all kind of mixed together to make this beautiful color of a tree. This next build, it looks like it's all about architecture based on the little description here. So we've got varying styles of architecture, but before we even look at the buildings, let me just look at the trees real quick, because I noticed there's a variety of them and a variety of colors. Again, that's not something that I even always think about, but whenever you're doing a forest in an autumn scene, it's more realistic to have some green trees and then some that are changing colors. So I really like the mixture of the different tree types in here with the orange, yellow, and evergreen trees. The terrain itself is cute too, with all of the little boulders sticking up for extra height. I do like that. Let's get a look at the actual build though. Look at this Gothic style cathedral. Is that what this is? It looks like a little cathedral. And the little flocks of birds going up. Those are really cute. The boats are full of voyagers. I don't know where they're going or where they're headed. Oh my goodness, there's a whole crowd of people here. Oh, this is interesting. Wait, it looks like the people are boarding the boats. Is that what they're doing? Are they sailing in this direction, or are they sailing in this direction? I mean, I can't really tell, but I'm just impressed. I've never seen a build that incorporated crowds of miniature people, but I love this. Oh, look at the little lions. See, I get caught up on all the tiny details. I'm completely neglecting the fact that there's a giant structure in front of me. This just looks so immersive. I love this. I'm assuming you can't go inside these buildings, which is fine. That's fair. Wow. I'm just in awe by the scale that this gives off. When you have all those little elements, those little people mixed in, it really sells the scale of the build because these builds really aren't that big in terms of build height. But when you have all those little people scattered around, it makes the whole build feel a lot bigger. So I do like how it does that. Oh, and here we have the villagers. I don't really know what these are all representing, and I'm sorry I'm not taking the time to figure it out. I'm just going through these builds really quick and admiring them for what they are at face value. There's actually more to it that I missed. I didn't load this whole thing in. So I'm not sure what that's supposed to represent. It looks like a modern building behind a portal. And then these are ancient, fancier buildings. I'm not quite sure the significance of it, but yeah, there's the whole plot. So you can kind of see it all at once. I love the little details in this one. It's fun. I'm noticing a trend going on with all of these plots with the very colorful cloud nebulas. It seems a lot of people are doing that. Notice that these hands here that are wrapping around, that are in the shape of the clouds, they're forming hands around her. And yeah, I don't know what's going on with the face. The face is turning into puffs of smoke that are also blending into animals and creatures in the clouds. So I'm not exactly sure what I'm looking at, but the plot description says, silent echoes beyond the veil of sleep. In a sense, it does look very dreamlike, which is the whole purpose of the contest. I do like the bird in here. I do like this veil that they made of these blocks. What are these? The mangrove propagules, and it looks like they're all propagules, but some of them are longer than others. A really nice effect for that. This one is, again, just beautiful to look at and study all the little details. I think one thing that makes this one a bit difficult for me is just the fact that I don't know what the focus is supposed to be. I feel like there's so much competing for my attention that I'm really not sure what to look at first or what my eye is drawn to first. So I don't really know if that was intentional, but as it is, I feel like there's just a lot of competing elements where I think this jellyfish is probably the number one thing that stands out, either that or the woman, which is probably what it should be. It probably should be the woman that stands out, but then there's that bird that also stands out to me. It just makes it hard for me to know what to focus on, but it is a beautiful build. I do like it. Alright, I have this one mostly loaded in. It's really hard to get these large plots completely loaded in, but after looking at it for some time, I finally figured out what it's supposed to be. So it looks like an average day in the office and wishing you were anywhere else. He's thinking about the seaside and being in the ocean. All of these thoughts of his are swirling all around him. You've got the whale coming out, the school of fish. I really wish this whale would load in. Come on, you can do it. This is what I have to deal with every time I log in here. There we go. So you've got all of these fish and things. I like how even the office things are starting to float in the air or just be set aside because of all of these thoughts that are coming out. But if you come over here, he's very longingly looking at his screen and wishing he were at the beach surfing. I'm pretty sure that's what this build is trying to say. There was no description attached to it, so I'm making my best guess. I like how there is a giant whale that's like inside the office. And it's also interesting how this was built because the office ceiling is slanted, which is cool because it helps with the perspective when you're looking into the room. So you just see everything better. Everything's kind of merging into that one central point. It's not a perfectly straight wall. Everything's kind of curving to a smaller space. I don't know how else to put it. It's just perspective, which is really neat. Don't mind me just looking at builds for a video. One thing that stood out to me about this build is how it could have improved some of the finer details, such as the tips of these waves. Instead of keeping those as spherical shapes or blobs, they could have been refined to look more like water. They even have this little spray effect of water with all these different particles. Actually, these are glass panes they're using to get that top and bottom white edge, which is a really good technique. But I feel like the shape of the water behind it almost breaks the illusion just a little bit. But that water in the back there is a better example. I think that was handled better with more wisps in it to create that more flowing water shape. I do like the concept of this build, and the colors are really nice. They all contrast well with the dark colors of the office, making them stand out. And so far, this plot is probably the most relatable to me because that's many days me at my office job, wishing I could be playing Minecraft instead. At least we're playing Minecraft now. Let's enjoy it while we can. This next one's said to have night vision on, so I've turned it on, and it looks like we've got another daydreamer at the office at work, whose mind is being literally blown apart with all of his ideas. We've got origami, we've got a phoenix, I'm assuming that's a phoenix, and a unicorn on a rainbow road. And what is this? What is this we have over here? A dragon! It's like all my favorite things in a singular plot. We have scissors and paper. I'm actually not quite sure what the scissors and paper is representing, but yes, look at this dragon. Gotta take a look at the dragon. Kind of cute. Oh, and then there's all of the keyboard keys all over scattered around this island. What is this? Is this some kind of like imagination island? What is this? Butterflies and flowers. This is just another the pen sticking in the mountain. That's funny. Actually, it's probably my favorite part of the build. I just like it. Oh, the coffee was spilled, and that's spilling into this rainbow road that the unicorn is riding on. Oh, I think I figured out what's going on here. It looks like there's these paper animals, or the origami that he's making, and it's transforming into the creatures that they actually represent. So this was probably an origami horse of some kind, and it's turned into a unicorn. The dragon was probably also origami, although it doesn't look like I see any paper aspects about the dragon. But yeah, I guess that's the general idea, is he's making animals out of paper and his mind is being blown. His mind is absolutely blown and he's coming up with these ideas. Look at the eyes. I just want to admire the details of the eyes in there. That's really funny. Like how he actually has pupils and those little, are those blast furnaces or smokers, whatever those are? Those represent his pupils. I think that's really clever. Another plot that greatly represents my brain when I should be working. I'm too busy thinking about other things. A really fun plot. This next one is called Lullaby of the Raging Sea. So I'm not exactly sure what she's daydreaming about, unless she's daydreaming about the sea around her, the raging sea. But the colors in this are really nice, and I like how the water was handled with all of the different heights and the depth of it. You'll see how from down here it does get taller towards the ends, and it's shorter where she is. There are some things about the organic, the shaping of it, that are a little bit off on the side, especially here where the chin goes across, but those are minor things. She does look really good from the front, and she's got great coloring on her face. I like the starlit look in her eyes. That's really pretty. And all of those highlights. It almost looks like they started the coloring and didn't quite finish, or maybe it's just because it's such a bright glow coming from in front of her. I wonder if there was going to be more to this plot, because she is looking up, but she's not really looking at anything. So it just makes me wonder if there was more coming to this plot or not, or if she's just supposed to have that far off look about her eyes. But either way, I really like this build. Really well done with the colors, and even like the detail on the t-shirt. I think that's a nice little detail that didn't have to be done, but it was there nonetheless, and I think it adds a lot to the build. So yeah, good job overall. So this plot is just a musician in a field of flowers playing a song. Oh, I love this. This is so pretty. Wait, is that a window? Why is there a window? Unless it's supposed to look like a connection to the outside. I'm not really quite sure what the window is for. What is this? This is the music stand. Really cute. Oh, I just love flowers, so any plot that has a lot of plants and flowers, I'm automatically going to like it. But we got this little rocky edge here. Oh, I like how the colors of the rocks are all different. I need to do that more often and stop thinking in just a single color, but introduce other colors of rocks because rocks can be very colorful. Ooh, I like this little splash of water here. You could have easily just cut that off and not had that little splash there, but I like how there is that little detail added on the end. And even just the lines in the rocks and the patterns in the rocks, that's something really pretty. All right, let's take a look at the organic itself. I love the sheer material on this outfit. Oh wow, there's even layers of color in there. Let me see if I can get a better look at it. I do have the night vision off right now because I'm trying to do that for most of these plots unless otherwise noted. I love the colors mixed into this sheer material to give it a sunlit look almost, a sunlit appearance. The organic is also built really well. I like the proportions, the face shape. I love the bright jewelry. Let me see how well the violin was built. I mean, it's really hard to build instruments in general, especially on a strange angle. But this almost looks like it, I don't know if it could have been cleaned up better or what I would suggest to do differently. It is a bit messy for the violin, but you can still tell what it is. It's just it probably could have been cleaned up a bit more, especially right over here. It looks like it was rotated, but not really cleaned up very much. So all of these jagged edges could have been smoothed over or even shaded. I wonder if the builder just ran out of time. I don't know these things. I'm just commenting on what I see, but it looks like the violin or the instrument wasn't shaded at all, but the rest of it was. But still, I love this build. I love her outfit. Her hair is really well done too. There's too many things to look at. It's hard for me to comment on everything. I like the highlights, how you see some strands are lighter than others. And you'll notice the glass shading up in here too. It looks really, really nice. I just love the flow of how this build looks. I love the shapes and everything. I love how her dress is flowing. I love how the terrain is tilting up slightly around her. There's a lot of texture to this build and a lot of little elements, but it's not overly busy at the same time. I really love this build. Good job. This next one looks like someone is dreaming. I'm assuming actually dreaming and not daydreaming because it looks like a nighttime scene. Because you've got a giant candle and a giant fire and a miniature fireplace. I think the scaling in this one is a bit off. It looks like the fireplace is too small, the candlestick is too big. But I do like the concept of this one, especially with this interior. I like the log cabin look. And when you look at it from out here, you'll see how the shadows are casting correctly onto the walls and everything, so that just sells the scene a lot better. This one looks like it could have stood more textures or just better textures in general, but I do like the layout of this, and scaling is always a difficult thing, especially for large builds like this. Yeah, this wasn't too bad. Like the little pictures on the wall, it's a fun little detail. Oh, this is a nice little effect having the window and door completed on this side. That's not something that everyone thinks to do, especially for these large indoor scenes like this. I was just looking at this rug and realized it's actually a lot of different layers of noise. It's not just a flat level of noise. So it's actually a very plush looking carpet that you can step into, and even the furniture is sinking into it. That's actually a great little detail that I don't normally see people do. Usually you just think to just do a flat rug, but this one actually has some depth. This next one looks like it is taking place inside of a coffee shop. At least I assume so, because there's coffee and a little sign for coffee. Reading a book and imagining all the things, all the beautiful things. Oh, this plot is cute. All of the different elements, they do stand alone, but they also go together. So it looks like a bunch of interests and just imaginations going on here. The organic is, she's well done. She's a little bit crooked in the face. And when I say that, I just mean the eyes are slightly slanted. Like her whole face is a bit twisted, but overall it doesn't look bad, especially when you're looking at it from the side. And she's reading a book. She's got her phone. Oh, look at the glare on the phone even. I like the little detail around the controller to make it look like it's glittery and these swirls of color coming out of here, out of the coffee cup. I don't know, the whole thing is it's just cute. That's how I describe this plot. It's just a very cute build. Oh, there's more stuff on this side that I didn't see. There's a teddy bear, some paint, and other books, I'm assuming. It looks like they're upside down books. This is just cute. I love it. Sorry, I don't really know what else to say about this one. I just think it's too cute. Oh, look at this. This almost has an iridescent look about it with the bubbles and even on the balloon. I love that iridescent look. And it kind of carries down here into these bubbles, into the goldfish. Very beautiful. Even though a lot of these plots are the same, where it's people kind of daydreaming on just doing whatever they do on a daily basis, I do like these plots too because it gives you a look inside of what the builder likes to dream about themselves, and also it's something that I think we all do, especially as artists or creatives. I'm always daydreaming about things that I could be doing, or even if it is a common thought to go this route with a contest like this, I do like seeing these kinds of plots because they're always different and unique to the builder. A voyage through the dreamlands where imagination and reality combine. Oh, it's a car trip! Oh, it's so cute! We've got a pirate bear and his trusty rabbit and parrot friends on top of a green dinosaur. Oh wow, they built the entire inside of the car. Oh, what in the world? Oh, this is a spaceship. I see. Is the car turning into a spaceship? Oh, it is. Oh, that's so cute. Oh, I love this. This is just so imaginative. I'm just looking at all the details. Oh, look at the little mushroom man. Isn't he cute? This really is a whole dreamland. There's a lot of these little mushroom people everywhere. And a herd of horses. And I can't tell what this is over here. Some kind of train. What is this? A contained thunderstorm in a contained galaxy or planets? She is imagining that everything is a rocket ship or in space, and I guess that train is actually going by. She's imagining that it's coming through this portal from outer space. Maybe these horses are actually here too in reality, but she's imagining them coming from the clouds. It looks like this one's almost completely in cloud form, and then this one is not, and then some of them are floating. There's just a lot going on here. A lot of fun things to look at. There's even a crystal cave, or whatever this is, a jellyfish cave. I'm going to call it the jellyfish cave underneath of the road. This is another one of those plots where it's just really hard to tell what the focus of the build is. I'm assuming that you're supposed to look at it from this angle, but there's so much going on. You really just have to go in and explore in order to get what actually is going on here. Oh, there's even a UFO. Oh, the plane is racing the UFO to the finish line. So cute. While this build is still pretty rudimentary in its technique, especially with a lot of these organic shapes, you know, they're all simple. Everything here feels really simple, but it also works because it's all coming from the mind of the child in the car. So in a sense, it kind of does work where it's a child's imagination coming to life. So I'm not as particular about the technique on this one, just because of that reason, because of the setting and what it's implying. Yeah, there's a lot going on here. I think my favorite part is the fact that the driver is an astronaut, and in the passenger seat you have a deep sea diver. Oh look, they're navigating space. That's so funny. Okay, last thing I want to talk about is this little guy on the dandelion. Isn't he cute? This plot is called The Ethereal Lady, and I didn't think much of it when I first started loading it in, but wow, I need to stay in the plot because it looks better in the nighttime view. This looks like a painting. It's so pretty, and it's so simple too. You look at it up close. The block palette is Very, very basic. Is her arm kind of morphing into the flower? It looks like it is. Even the trees, they're not the most detailed in terms of shape. Like, these aren't even actual leaf shapes. They're just blobs of color kind of mingled together to make them look like leaves or a canopy of trees. And even with the pinks and purples, even though those are kind of blending in with each other, especially right here on this, something about the trees and how they're made out of the glass and they're meant to look like they're glowing. I don't know. This plot is just, it's just so different. It's so simple and effective. If anything, it would have been nice to see more glowing effects, but maybe the whole point was to have the glowing towards the tops of the trees, and I do kind of like that effect also as it is. And you'll notice that I think down here it's all gray. I think these are all gray blocks. We've got chains and glass panes to represent the grass. But the flower is done really well. I do like this flower with all of these fun particles coming out. It looks like the trees are two different colors of glass. So you've got gray and white mixed in to get that look. So it's not necessarily that it's layered, it's just different colors of glass. Although at first glance, I thought it was layered. There are some basic things that could be improved, such as just the general shaping of this. It's not smoothed very well, but as a silhouette from a distance, it doesn't look bad. It would have been nice to see the grass a little bit more dynamic. Well, I guess there are some taller sections like right there, so it's not all the same level everywhere, which is good. It's kind of hard to see though in this lighting. I would have liked to see even more pinks mixed in on these patterns in this flower in the center. It feels like there's a lot of purple going on, and all of the shapes are blending in with each other. So if there was some kind of way to make all of these individual shapes stand out from each other, I think that could have improved it. But I do love this build. It looks like it could be a poster. When I spawned on this plot, this is what I see. Doesn't look like much, right? But then I was like, oh, what's down here? Because I saw the orange glow. So I go down here and wow, look, this looks like, I don't know what this is. Is this lava? What is this? Is this a cloud? And then I am like, whoa, there's a whole thing down here. And I had spawned on the very top of the plot. So I just spawned in an awkward spot above the rain clouds, but look at this down here. We have the same effect that we saw on that other one with that veil, except this one is using glass and also the propagules to create a rain effect. Notice how the rain effect isn't put everywhere, but just in certain places to give that illusion of rain, because if you did put it everywhere, it would make it a bit hard to see, if I'm being honest. So I'm glad it's not everywhere. Is this lightning bolt supposed to be turning into some kind of bird? It almost looks like it because you have this part that looks like a beak and then this part flowing out, and then these were the wings right here on the left and right. Oh, the storm cloud is so well done though. I love this. Let me turn off my night vision and see what it looks. Ooh, yes. It looks a lot better with the night vision off. I forgot to turn that off for this one. I was going to say what would make it better is if the lighting were more central to the plot, but it looks like it is. I'm not sure what these little yellow things on the sides are supposed to represent. Okay, let's get closer and look at the little lighthouse in the center. Does it have an interior or is it just an exterior? It looks like it's just the exterior probably. If the theme is reverie and daydream, I'm not exactly sure what the daydream is here, unless you're dreaming about the storm turning into a giant bird. I'm not exactly sure, but the plot is really pretty to look at. I will give it that. Oh, and I like how these clouds look, these little ones. The cloud effect was done really well. I do like that a lot. This one has a book for a description. A Crown for a Dreamer. I'm not going to take the time to read all of that, but there it is if you wanted to read it. This one is so colorful. Look at the colors on this. I was instantly drawn to the stained glass in the back. look at the difference between the shadowy areas and the areas that are lit. Even the shadowy areas are very bright and colorful. I honestly don't even know what to say about this one and just want to take it all in for a second. I love the details on this dress and all the jewels. The use of color is amazing. Little details on that. The back of the build isn't as textured. This is another one of those builds that's meant to be looked at from the front. You'll even notice here that it doesn't connect fully. But again, it's because it's meant to be looked at from the front only, so the back isn't fully completed, but the front is really pretty. I love this a lot. It seems to be a common color scheme to do this iridescent look for Reverie, but I do like it. It's really whimsical and dreamlike. All right, let's get a closer look at the face. I want to look at the face and all the details. Now, typically with these builds where you do look at it from one angle, it starts to kind of look funny when you look at it from the side. Yep. So this one doesn't look the best from the side because it's not meant to be looked at from that side. And you'll notice even here how the nose kind of stretches out with all of these details because they're all layered on top of each other to get that exact color gradient going on there on the nose. But from a distance, it does look really nice. I could never do something like this on my builds just because I like my builds to be more of a 360 look instead of the painterly look. But if you did want to do this painterly look, notice how much layering is involved with this and how much details. There's even a moving skulk sensor in there. Not that you'll ever see that. Some things like that you'll never ever see from a distance, but it's there nonetheless. I do wonder sometimes how many of those little tiny detailing blocks are actually visible from a distance, but it is fun to try to include as many unique blocks as you can. I think sometimes builders just do it to challenge themselves to see, ooh, what blocks can I use that I've never used before? At least that's what I do, so I assume that's what others do. Ooh, I think the crown, though, is my favorite part. How it's light on this side and darker over here, but still, just like the stained glass, is still very colorful. I think my favorite thing about this build is the fact that it's so full of color. Everything is very colorful, but you can still see the shapes of everything. So I can still see the individual flowers against the stained glass. I can still see her hand and arm against the stained glass. They're not all blending with each other, and all of the different elements do stand out individually, while also being very vibrant and colorful, and I think that's what makes this build stand out. So pretty. And here's another fun little detail. Notice how the pillar here is tilting upward. Instead of going straight across like a regular pillar, it's angled up a bit so that when you view it, it has a very particular look about it. It adds some perspective to the angle that you view it from down here. So it's not going straight back and you can see more depth inside that pillar. Little things like that that you don't typically think to do, but this builder obviously did think to do it because it was all intentional. Everything is intentional. Yes, even that little gap there, I'm sure it was intentionally left unchecked because it doesn't matter. This next plot is the Nebula Space Parade by wolfbiom, and this was one of the few that I was keeping up with. wolfbiom and I won the last contest that we entered together in August. We did a contest together and entered it. This was wolfbiom's solo plot for this contest, and it looks incredible. Look at this. We've got this young man imagining a parade in the nebula in the sky. Although he is not looking through his telescope currently, he is looking at the stars and just imagining so many things. The colors in this are amazing. I like how it fades from red to orange to gold, and then there's mixtures of green and blue throughout. There's even a brown fish over here. Look how cute. And everything is glittering in this starry effect. So many organics and animals, and we even have a little space dog up here. How cute. So much going on in the nebula in the stars. I do love how all the stars are coming out and glowing all around you and filling up the entire plot. It really does make it feel like you're in the middle of this galaxy in space, almost like the galaxy is coming down to Earth. And just like with all of the other plots, there's the great use of the amethyst buds to get that little light glow on everything. The back is textured too, but yeah, it's definitely meant to be looked at from the front, and it does look the best from the front. This one is just absolutely gorgeous, and I've loved seeing the progress of it over the past month. Ooh, we have another musician plot here. This one looks a little more cartoony in the style of the build itself, but it's still really well textured. And look at this little violin. This violin is actually more whimsical and has really colorful and detailed blocks for the strings. But what stands out to me about this build is the fact that water was used for the base, and you can see the reflection of everything in the water. And I don't know, I've never really thought to use that as a technique, but it does make this build look so much better because of it. So it is all on water, but it also has tinted glass underneath everything, and it gives it all this reflective look, which is really pretty. I also really like how colorful the piano is. That's a lot of fun, and he looks like he is having fun playing. I'm trying to figure out why the piano scene is all blue. Obviously, this was made so that the violin player would stand out from the rest of the build, but it almost looks like this is part of the water. I'm just pulling that from thin air. I don't really know what this is representing. I just think it's an interesting choice to make this all blend in with the water and then make all of the pink elements stand out and swirl around. I'm not quite sure what these green floating particles are supposed to be. I guess it's just to add extra color to the scene. Who knows? But this is a really fun, colorful plot. Good job. And here we have another daydreaming scene of a man in a shallow pond, it looks like, daydreaming. And I'm having trouble getting this one to load in all the way, but there's a lot of little things in the sky. There's a little hot air balloon, and is this another hot air balloon? Yep. Something about this one is you'll notice that there is a reflection in this one too. However, this is a built-in reflection, because if you look underneath, you've got the exact same build, just flipped. So unlike that previous one where it was water reflecting, this one is a built-in reflection, which I have done this one time in a build a long time ago when I was creating a mirror effect inside of an actual mirror on the wall. I had to flip the build. So that's a fun little effect for this one, the fact that it's a built-in reflection, and it does give a different look. You do get the colors when you do it this way. So it does work as a better effect for some cases. Oh, look at the little hummingbird. See the hummingbird's reflection. All those little things that really make it stand out. I wouldn't mind coming to this pond or this meadow and just daydreaming away and just like this. This looks really peaceful. I like it. I am denied from this plot, but where there is a will, there is a way. We have to find the front and get it all loaded in as best as we can. This build looks like some kind of music hall, I'm assuming, because you have the 3 musicians there in the back. Is that an organ in the back? I can't really tell. And then a girl on a dragon over here. There's a lot of elements going on with this. It's really busy. Actually, there's 2 dragons, 2 girls on dragons. And then this little golden road that goes up in the middle. Again, I wish I could go in here to look at these closer, but I can't. I've made it past the barrier! I cheated a little. I am actually inside of my replay file, but this allows me to actually explore this plot in greater detail. So let's fly around inside of the replay. I like how the outfits in this almost look like they were painted. Like she has paint spilled all over her. I mean, I think it's just the stylistic choice, but they all look so colorful. Look at the hair on this organic over here. And it's merging into, oh, this girl's hair who is playing the organ. Even details in the faces. All of the faces have details. Down to the tiniest details in the earring. Look at that campfire used as an earring piece. How creative. This build definitely looks a lot better once you get it all loaded in. You can see it all at once. It's so abstract in how it's built that it's hard to tell what everything is per se. But at the same time, you see enough of the details or enough of the completed shapes to still understand what you're looking at. What is this? Is this a castle on the wall? I wonder what the story is behind this one. I'd be curious to find out. And there's also these rings. It looks like it's the music traveling in waves throughout the entire building. At least that's the impression I'm getting from it. See down here, it's also emitting out of her feet. And over here, it's emitting out of that area and over here also. Oh, look, there's a music note hitting the ground, almost like it's hitting the ground like a raindrop. It seems to me that with this build, all of the things that you need to focus on, such as all of the organics in the scene, are the pieces that are completely textured and refined. And then you've got all of this other details just mixed throughout that isn't as refined and it's more of a messy look. I'm not too crazy about the abstractness of this build, but I do think it fits with this scene because it just seems to make the whole thing more chaotic. I wish I could make sense of all of it, but it is fun to explore this and see what hidden details you can find. Whether it was intentional or not, I noticed that this builder used bright reds for all of the hair on all of the organics, but then the building itself is primarily blue. So it's just interesting to see how all of the reds that you see that pop out at you, they're all part of the main features of the build. So whether it's her guitar or the hair or this dragon over here, that's where you see all of the reds. And I just think it's a great play on the colors in this build. Oh, she does have pink hair, not red hair, but still, that's basically a light red color. I don't know if that was intentional, but I do like how all of those different colors seem to pop among all of the cooler colors of the building in the background. Inside of this plot, we have just a simple little castle in the corner, but what's really eye-catching about this one is just the terrain. This terrain is absolutely gorgeous. Look at the colors. There's a teal mountain range, there's a red one, and then a pink one. And for the size of the plot, it's the same size as all of the other plots, but just the way this terrain is formed and the scaling of it makes it feel a lot bigger than some of the other plots. Ooh, this is so beautiful. I love this. For a terrain dominant plot, I really like this one actually. I think it's really nice. Other plots do this too, but I'll make a note of it on this one. All of the beautiful colors mixed in the water using the different biomes. I think some areas like this area here could look a little bit better if the rock formation was a little bit more irregular, but I don't mind it as it is too. I love these little waterfalls trickling down, and this wheat field looks really nice. This is a world I definitely just want to walk around in a POV perspective because it has that kind of grandness to it with this terrain. What a beautiful landscape. The Cyan mountain range is my favorite over here. Let's take a look at this big golden tree in the center. It looks like it's being broken apart. I'm wondering how that tree can even stand between those two mountains. It's a very simple tree, but it's pretty. It's a really interesting decision to have the structure tucked away in the corner. It's not the main focus of the build from what I'm seeing. I wonder if the purpose of this build is to give off the impression of a dream-like landscape. That's the impression I'm getting from it. I'm not sure why there's this singular building over here. Is it a single house? Or is it a little town? Not even a road connecting these things. Interesting. I even like these patches of the brighter greens mixed into this terrain here. You know, looking at this plot makes me want to become a terrain builder, and I do not like building terrain. So that's saying something. This has so many creative elements. I love all the water features and all of the little ponds scattered throughout. That really adds a lot to this overall terrain. This definitely makes me wish this were a fully fledged survival world that I could go in and explore and add to. Really well done. Ooh, this is a nice one. Again, there's no plot description, but it is called Artificial Sun. I like the colors, how they're all on the more muted side. So far, a lot of the plots have been really bright and colorful. I mean, this one is still very colorful and bright, but it's using a more muted palette. Actually, why is there so much color on her legs? That would be interesting to know. Like right here, it almost looks like the veins are popping out, but I don't think that's what that's meant to be. Or if it is, I don't know. There's a lot of colors going on her legs, however, and even plants growing on her legs. But all of these details do come together nicely where when you're looking at it from over here, it honestly all comes together, so it all makes sense. Again, with this one, even when there's a lot of details going on, at least they're not blending in with each other and messing with the things surrounding them, so you can still clearly see what you're looking at. Even with all of the crazy details mixed in, look at all the colors just used on the skin alone. Now this one did say that you could look at it with night vision on to see the details, so I don't think there's any kind of special lighting with it. Not really. But yeah, you need night vision on in order to see all of the cape colors and all the flows and that. It looks like this sun element, whatever this is on the ground, it looks like it's starting to crack on one side. And then this side is more complete where the flowers are coming out. At face value, I don't quite understand the reverie aspect of it, but I do think the organics are expertly built and textured, and it's a beautiful piece of art. That was 21 of the plots from this contest. I didn't take the time to review all of them because I'm trying to keep this video at a reasonable length, but here's a few extra plots on the screen for you to get a glimpse of. The results have not been posted yet at the time of me making this video, but if I had to pick a favorite, personally, of the ones that I've seen, I think my top 3 would have to be Zekiez, Nistune, and wolfbiom, although xknighty and Aneliar are also contenders for the top 3. It's so hard to pick because I like all of them for different reasons. I also love Dinos, even though it was really simple. I think I just love the setting of it. I love that ethereal look. But all of you builders did such a good job with only having a month to do this contest. I was asked several times if I was going to enter, and honestly I've just been too busy with other projects to enter a contest at this time. But it was really fun getting to look at all of them and see all the amazing works of art that you all have created. If you would like to see these builds for yourself, I will post a link to the server in the description. It is its own unique server just for this contest. I don't know how long this server will be active for you to view them, but I will post it there anyway. Let me know down below which one you like the best of the ones that you've seen, and if you would like to see more videos like this, I hope to make more in the future whenever the chance arises. Have a good rest of your day or night, and I hope to see you again soon.